Blessings, everyone. This is Reverend Afrin with the Four Pillar Shrine. Today I want to talk about something very important and very sobering. If you can hear the music in the background, I just want you to know that those are recorded recitations of prayers from the Tibetan Book of the Dead. These prayers are said for people who have passed away, and they are prayers as a way to help the spirit of the person to navigate the treacherous landscape of the Tibetan Bardo, which is a purgatory, and the prayers are meant to help guide the spirit so that they understand how to get um, through the Bardo and eventually reach reincarnation. So I want to talk about something very important. One of my former coworkers, who was a manager with me, he was a classically trained chef. He was a baker, master baker. He was a teacher. He was a guide. He was very knowledgeable about food, cooking, and cuisine. He, unfortunately, to the loss of many people, committed suicide just a few days ago. And it's kind of funny because just a few, maybe a week and a half ago, my great aunt passed away, and I didn't really know her very well, and I went to the funeral and all of that, and I she was very old. She passed away, when she was 87 years old, and it was a time of closure. It was like, okay, she's passed away. It's time to perform the 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 necessary rites and requirements and things. But it's a closure. She's had a full life, and she passed away very I don't want to say expectedly, because death is never expected, but she had been sick and she passed away in due course. However, this friend of mine, this colleague of mine, passed away very unexpectedly due to self-inflicted suicide he was led to that by depression, it seems. And so I want to talk a little bit in this video about self-inflicted death and how Wiccans and pagans view this topic. So, Wicca is varied. There are many different traditions of Wicca. However, there are 5 things that are very common beliefs cross-traditionally, intertraditionally in Wicca. And the 5 things are the belief in karma, the belief in the Threefold Law, the belief in reincarnation, um, the belief in the Wiccan Rede, and obviously the belief in the god and the goddess. Those are traditionally believed. And so understand that when you live your life, you are accruing karma, negative or positive karma. That karma plays out in your life. In some cases, this karma will also play out in successive lives, and it's something that has to run its course. Frequently, things that you deal with on a day-to-day basis you will revisit. Karma will come back to you, positive or negative, very shortly thereafter, within the next weeks, months, years, unless it is a larger theme of your life that may require constant revisiting, may require it to shape your life in the successive lives. Generally speaking, however, karma does affect you at a time-to-time, minute-to-minute sort of basis. So we gain karma We are bound by the threefold law. We are bound by the rule of return, and we live our lives in this idea. When we pass away, we are then reincarnated. And when we are reincarnated, that reincarnation is based upon a series of circumstances. It could be based upon previous karma, it could be based upon previous lessons needing to be learned again or weren't fully learned the first time, and it is based upon your soul's decisions. Our higher self is ultimately in control of our lives. Even if we feel that we are doing that something bad is happening to us, oh goodness, why is all this happening to us? It is an effect of a contract between our higher self and our lower self. Our higher self sets the stage, sets the standard, sets the goals and parameters of our lives. Our lower selves live those lives. So when you are living your life, your higher self is involved as well. The higher self is minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, creating a contract that is updated and changed over and over again. And this contract is what happens in your life, what obstacles you're going to have, what sort of things you're going to do, and what sort of goals you're going to have. You could say that something like suicide might be part of that contract. You could say that the spirit has decided that in order to learn certain lessons in your life, suicide may have been an option of the lower self. Generally speaking, that is not the most orthodox, to use that word, held belief. That is not the most common held belief regarding suicide. Wiccans and pagans do not view suicide to be a sin, as in other traditions, other religious traditions. However, understand that suicide is deeply detrimental to your spiritual growth and development. You have a choice to live the way you want. You have the choice to die the way that you want. And that is completely your choice and within your right. And that's fine. However, we were given life through the agencies of the goddess and the god for the purpose of living that life and for the purpose of reaching a oneness with God through our experiences in this life. Preferring to cut our lives short and not live our life to the fullest is a violation of that basically held truth found in the Wiccan faith. Suicide is never the answer. I know that it's difficult to understand that. It's difficult to see that at the time, especially if someone is under the influence of powerful substances, drugs, alcohol, etc. It's very difficult to see that. Suicide is never the answer. Nothing good comes of it. It deeply affects people around you, even people that you think you might not have ever known, people that you might not have ever interacted with, people that you feel might never have really been affected by your life, are deeply, deeply affected by it. I've had people calling me, messaging me, asking me what's going on, what happened to him. He went through a lot of trouble. I don't want to go into too much detail, but there were issues in history of depression. There were history of other of anger issues and other issues, and everything came to a head at this time, and I feel that he thought this was the best option that he had. And unfortunately, as I've already said, that's never the case. If we commit suicide, our soul's goal is left unfulfilled. Our soul's purpose in this incarnation is left unfulfilled. We are locked. We're lost. The spiritual ramifications are deeply detrimental to the spirit's growth and development. In some cases, performing self-inflicted death can result in spiritual blockages, can result in loss of soul, leading to the necessary steps of soul retrieval. It can also lead to deep, deep entanglement that will be very difficult to overcome in future lives. Suicide also can prevent us from fully awakening to our true nature. And this is something that could be very difficult to address in future lives. Performing self-inflicted death can also trap the spirit, if strong enough, in my belief, to the spiritual realm. You are so deeply, to the physical realm, not the spiritual realm. You are so deeply wounded that, to your spirit, to your core, you are so deeply wounded that your spirit cannot move on. Your spirit cannot, the part of your spirit that is incarnated is trapped, and you cannot reincarnate again. You cannot return to the spiritual world to be reincarnated. These are deeply troubling, deeply, deeply troubling. Understand that you are never alone. You are never, ever alone. You have your family. You have your friends. You have your community. That involves where you live. That involves where you went to school. That involves the people that you work with. You know, you have your community of people from school. You have your community of people from where you work at. We have so many communities that we are a part of that we so frequently do not see it. And even if you might feel estranged from your family or estranged from your friends, understand that if this were to happen, it would be detrimental to them, even if you don't feel like they're really there. This is a deeply troubling and powerful experience. And it's something that I am wholeheartedly against. If we do not learn these lessons, they are going to come back. They are going to come back. If you feel in your life that you are so strangled, you are so stuck where you are, and all of this stuff is going on, and it's all coming together in this, right on top of your head, and all of this terrible stuff is going on, understand that this is also a lesson for you. And if you perform self-inflicted death, you are not able to learn what you were supposed to learn from those lessons. Then, if by the grace of the gods you are not trapped and you do become reincarnated, those same lessons are going to come back. Understand that. Something that is so deeply, deeply dynamic and powerful and changing in your life, that could be a moment of pure transition that has led you to this negative outcome, is something that most certainly, most definitely will be revisited in future lives. So if you think that getting away from it now is making something better, understand that it's not. It's only harming you more. I'm going to put on the screen the phone number for the suicide hotline and contact information, because I want everyone to be able to share this with their friends, with their family. Understand that your friends, your family, your mentors, your religious leaders, that is why they are there. It is important to understand that this is only going to harm you and is going to harm your family forever. Forever. I want you to understand that. You might not think, okay, I'm ending my existence at this point because it's not worth it. No. I know people whose siblings have committed suicide. And to this day, 10, 15, 20, 30 years later, are still feeling the effects of that. Understand that. There's no closure. There's no closure for you. There's no closure for your family or your friends when that happens. There is nothing that can be done. Your soul is stuck. Your family is stuck. This is in my opinion, the most paramount form of spiritual blockage. Everybody is stuck. It's a boulder. You are completely at an impasse. And that sort of damage is long-lasting and long-living. So I encourage all of you to think. Think about your behavior. Think about your family. Think about your friends. Not just as if you were the person considering self-inflicted death, but as if other people were the ones considering it. Think about them. Think about how they feel. Think about what they're going through and be there for them. Because this is what's important. The friend I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I don't know. I don't know how his family and friends feel about him. I know a lot of people that seem to feel very positively about him. I know people that I used to work with that feel very positively about him. But after having done something like this, self-inflicted death in our society is very taboo. And people shy away from it. They shun it, unfortunately. So I performed my own memorial service for him, sending prayers, sending energy, sending love and light to his spirit, that his spirit does not become entangled and is able to reincarnate, is able to transition over the veil to the other world, whatever you choose to call that, so that he can understand what needs to happen, what he needs to do in order to be reincarnated, because that is the ultimate goal, to continue our spiritual learning. So I just want everyone to please be aware of that, and to please understand that, and to please be open to listening to others when they are having troubles, because when it gets to this point, you cannot go back. When it gets to this point, you are stuck. So I really encourage everyone to please think about what I've said. Think about the video. Please send prayers. Prayers to people that have passed away. Prayers even now to the spirits of people that you have known that have passed away due to self-inflicted death. Signing off for now.